Coming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I love my sweetheart. By the way, that's my riding lawnmower.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Love and Light Wellness Spa. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'd like to make an appointment for next week.
Excellent. Does Tuesday 9 a.m. work?
Ooh, mornings are when I go to Taco Bell to get my bacon breakfast quesadilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't like missing out on those fluffy eggs and crispy bacon covered in melty cheeses.
Oh, I understand. Let's see what I have in the afternoon.
Namaste.
Try the bacon breakfast quesadilla, only at Taco Bell. The limited participating U.S. Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Contact local store for hours of participation, which vary.
Hi, my name is Jen Roberts. I own Onion River Outdoors with my husband, Kip. Anyone who knows us knows how much we love any kind of outdoor cycling. This is why we are so excited about a new fundraiser from Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice. Cycles of Life, a motorcycle and bike ride taking place on Saturday, October 1st in Montpelier, which includes a motorcycle ride led by Rock Solid Motorcycle Club and self-guided bike rides on one of two beautiful routes. Don't forget about the raffle. Get your tickets to win a specialized Vado or Como e-bike provided by Onion River Outdoors. Tickets are $40 each, $100 for 3 or $150 for 5. Riders of all skill levels are welcome. Proceeds from this ride benefit CVHHH's telehealth program. Please join me, Kip, and our daughter Indy at Cycles of Life on Saturday, October 1st. Register and buy your raffle tickets now at cvhhh.org.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The energy. We walked around for 35 minutes just in the parking lot looking for this car. The passion. UVM schedules the way they do to get as high a seed as possible in the NCAA tournament and to get as much tournament prep as they can because they're not going to get it from their league. The opinions on all your favorite teams. The organization should be taking care of Matt, rather than Matt taking care of the organization.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show here on a Friday on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. That's right, the special 2-hour morning edition of the Brady Farkas Show. 2 hours of sports with your morning coffee here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. And before we go any further, let me get the logistics out of the way and make this perfectly clear because I know I'm going to need to. As far as I know, the Brady Farkas Show in the morning is a one-time thing. Producer Danny's already taking your phone calls about why is Vermont Viewpoint not on. I promise you, Vermont Viewpoint will be back on Monday. Brady Farkas Show for a special 2-hour edition, one day only. That's it, one day only. Vermont Viewpoint back on Monday. So put the pitchforks away and let's all enjoy sports for this 1 2-hour section of our day. I am pumped to be doing this. This is great for me on many, many levels. And again, if you're someone who wants Vermont Viewpoint, it will be back on Monday. So if you are one of my loyal afternoon show listeners, Brady Farkas Show usually airs at 5:30 at night. In fact, I'm going to be doing double duty today. We will be on at 5:30 tonight. If you are a loyal afternoon show listener, thank you so much for joining us here in the morning. If you are hearing this show and me for the first time, thanks for being with us. All I ask is that you give it a chance, right? You always listen to this station. You always listen to Vermont Viewpoint at this time. Give the sports show a chance, and I think we'll all have a lot of fun. So we'll talk about, look, we got a huge show, right? Patriots and Ravens getting ready in week 3 of the NFL season. We'll talk with Daniel Wilcox, former Baltimore Ravens tight end, at 9:20 or so. We got Phil Perry of NBC Sports Boston, Patriots Insider. He'll be with us here at about 10:05. We've got some interactive segments for you to call in on, including what would you do if you caught Aaron Judge's record-breaking home run ball. So that's where we're at. That's how the show is going down today. And again, Vermont Viewpoint will be back in this time slot on Monday. Now, more logistics. if you want to get in on the show, you can call in like you do every day, 244-1777. You can also get in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. That's right. The Brady Farkas Show has a text line that no one else has. It's mine and mine alone. So it's 802-585-3026. That's 802-585-3026. It's your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. Again, Daniel Wilcox, former Baltimore Ravens tight end, will be with us here in about 10 minutes. My opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff in Swanton Lumber. They are Vermont's most complete locally owned home center. Locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. Online at sticksandstuff.com. Producer Danny is here in the studio. It's my first time in the 2 years that Danny and I have been working at WDEV. We're actually working together, so I'm pumped to have Danny with me also. Danny, I got to tell you, before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the sports show here, I got to tell you, it's a little nerve-wracking and different being on in the morning.
You're in a different chair, too. Is that throwing you off?
I'm in a different chair. The morning people have it good. I've got 38 screens in front of me. We don't have this in the afternoon, okay? It's different technology. I'm in a different room with a different microphone. At least I'm able to have my regular headphones, but there's a lot of things going on.
And your show is longer.
My show is longer by a half an hour, so that's different. And I got to tell you, Monday morning I walk in, and Corm, our general manager, he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, do you want to fill in for Vermont Viewpoint on Friday?" And he's like, "You get to do your show for 2 hours." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I do." I'm like, "I want to talk 2 hours. I want to meet new listeners. I want to get some new people into the show. I want to take phone calls. I want to hang out with Danny." I was so pumped on Monday when Corm's like, "Do the show in that time slot." I'm like, hell yeah. Patriots, Ravens coming up, week 3 NFL. We could expand on some stuff. I was like, Monday morning, I was giddy. I was like on an emotional high the entire day. And then as I got to last night and this morning, I got very, very nervous because it's a totally different world.
It's like the caffeine crash.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. It's just being on in the morning is a totally different world. For starters, the people downstairs in this building, they're actually listening to me.
Oh.
When I'm on at 5:30 at night, I love my afternoon show. Our listeners are awesome. But 5:30 at night might as well be Radio Siberia. Like I can talk about whatever I want. No one questions it. I'm the only one in the building. The people downstairs, the big speakers we have in the lobby, they're all playing me and they're all listening. I don't know if they're ever listening to the higher ups, the bosses, the big wigs at DEV. They're all listening right now. I don't know it. Like, I was going to make jokes about Kaya and Charlotte, but now I can't do that because I don't know if they're going to come up here in the commercial breaks and, hit me over the head with something or chastise me. It's a different world. And I got to tell you, so when I'm on at 5:30 at night, never once in the history of the show have I been asked, "Hey, what are you going to talk about the next day? What's on your show? Who's on your show? Who's coming on?" No one has ever asked me that. I got emails last night at like 6 o'clock at night. "What's your show? Who's coming on? What's the full plan? We got to know. We want to send out the interoffice email as to what's coming on." I'm like, the games haven't even started yet from last night. How do I know what's coming on the show today when no games have been played? So people are taking a keen interest in the Brady Farkas Show at 9 a.m. here. I don't know what the show is. I'll know what the show is when all the games are over and it's 7 a.m. in the morning the next day. People are listening to me downstairs. People are asking me what's coming on the show, and like through telepathy, I'm supposed to tell them what's going to come on.
You'll know by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll know exactly what's coming on the show by the time we get on the air. And, I mean, I also had to look more presentable. Like we're streaming here on our video channel on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. I got dressed up for this. I'm in jeans, I'm in a real shirt, and I shaved. And I'm wearing my hat forward. 5:30 at night, man, there are no rules.
That's backward hat Brady.
Backward hat Brady, flip-flop Brady, basketball short Brady. Literally, when I'm in here in the afternoon, Greg Hooker and I are the only ones in here, like beyond a certain point. So it doesn't, like, I get dressed up for the midday news service, and then when everybody leaves, I change. I'm like, no one cares what I look like here. I'm like, I got to be presentable. Walking in at, whatever time I walked in today at 8 o'clock and being up, I tell you, it's different at 6:45 when that alarm goes off too. I wasn't ready for that, but I had to shave. I got all dressed up. It's a different world here. The people downstairs are listening. So, yeah, I like my afternoon show. This is fun, but it was more nerve-wracking than I expected it to be. So it is the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Hey, I'll also tell you, Danny, believe it or not, I've been in radio now for 8 years. This is the first time I have ever done sports talk radio in the morning, ever. In 8 years of my career, in the weekday. I had a weekend show in my first job. I was on from 9 to 10 a.m. But and at my previous job in Vermont, I did the weekend show a couple of times, 10 to noon or whatever. But I have never done a weekday sports talk radio show in the morning, ever in my life. Like, my first show I worked on in Albany was, 3 to 7 at night. When I got to Vermont, we were 4 to 6, and then we were 3 to 6, and now I'm 5:30 to 7. I've never been on the air in a weekday in the morning. So what we are witnessing here is Brady Farkas radio history doing my first ever weekday show. Matt and Bolton on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026. He says, I'm listening, Brady. I have a long drive this morning. He wants to talk about the Red Sox and Aaron Judge. We will get to that in the back half of the hour. Red Sox, another gut punch last night. All right, I had some fun here for the first couple of minutes telling you about how nervous I was. We promised you sports for 2 hours. We're going to get sports for an hour and 46 minutes, all right? Patriots and Ravens, they're coming up on Sunday. Both teams are 1-1. Pat's coming off a win against Pittsburgh. We'll get the perspective on that game from former Baltimore Ravens tight end Daniel Wilcox. He joins us next on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM. The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Hello, my name is Eric Haskin, president of Wastefield and Champlain Valley Telecom. We believe that one of the most important things we can do as a telecommunications company is to simply make sure we're always talking with our customers. Here's Richard Petoniak, Tech Support Supervisor.
I think one of the things that sets us apart from other providers, national and local providers alike, is that we deliver a level of service that we would like to receive. It's very much the golden rule when it comes to customer service. It's sort of a modification, I guess, of the golden rule. I encourage my technicians to deliver the level of service they would love to receive from another service provider. And I think that shines through.
At Wastefield and Champlain Valley Telecom, we know our customers expect us to be on top of every issue, every day, and we welcome that challenge with service that's second to none. Wastefield and Champlain Valley Telecom, world-class technology, local customer care.
Looking for a fun way to support the Vermont Mountaineers? Well, here it is. Join headliner Chad Hollister's large band with special guests, the VT Bluegrass Pioneers, for an evening of music, games, and drinks, all in support of the Vermont Mountaineers. Gates open at 4 with music from 6 to 9. There'll be kids' games and drinks from Bar Hill. Perfect Pitch, a benefit for the Vermont Mountaineers, Saturday, September 24th at Bar Hill in Montpelier. Tickets available at chadmusic.com.
Do you want to learn more about the free market perspective on important public policy issues affecting you, your work, and your community? I'm Bill Sayre, and I hope you'll do so by joining me in conversation with Vermont opinion leaders as we discuss how best to make Vermont an ever better and more affordable place to live and work. Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre, weekdays 11 till noon.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on this special edition Friday. Filling in for Vermont Viewpoint, talking sports up until 11 o'clock. Biggest thing on our sports schedule this weekend, Patriots and Ravens. Home opener for the Pats Sunday afternoon in Foxborough. Both teams come in at 1-1. For perspective on this matchup, a guy who played in these matchups, former Baltimore Ravens tight end Daniel Wilcox. He is a 7-year NFL veteran. He won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers back in the early 2000s, and now he is the co-host of the Believe in Ravens podcast. Daniel, thanks for being with us here on this early morning. How are you?
Man, I'm wonderful, Brady. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you being with us. Let's start with the Ravens' Week 2 collapse against the Dolphins, blowing a 3-touchdown lead there. As a former player, if you are on the Ravens now, where are you mentally going into this matchup with the Patriots?
I definitely think there's a little bit of frustration that might have built up from the last game. I mean, we've never seen the Ravens defense ever break down in the history of Ravens football. They've always been a defensive football team. So to see them kind of break down in the fourth quarter like that, I was scratching my head like, what the heck is going on? You know, yeah, Tyreek Hill is super fast. Wallace is super fast, but we got fast guys too. And it's just, I've never seen a breakdown in communication like that happened, you know, multiple times in a crunch time situation like that. Normally you go to some kind of prevent defense and you in cover 4, you keep everything in front of you. For them to get beat deep twice like that in the fourth quarter to blow a 21-point lead, you know, by giving Tyreek Hill easy bombs, it blew my mind. You know, there's definitely a sense of frustration that goes along with that when you got veteran players in the secondary and veteran players on the defensive side of the ball. They never blow games on the defensive side of the ball in Baltimore. They've always been solid on that side of the ball. So they kind of see them have a breakdown. It has to be a little bit of frustration building, especially with the new DC.
Here's what's crazy is that we talked a little bit about this earlier in the week on the show. The Dolphins are first in the league in terms of pre-snap motion. And the Patriots are last in the league in terms of pre-snap motion. So the Dolphins, I think, were able to create some confusion and indecision. The Patriots don't seem to have that in their toolbox at this point of the season. As someone who played offense, what does pre-snap motion do for an offense? And why are the Patriots not doing it?
That's a great question, Brady. You know, when you got a team like Miami, you got so much speed. What you're always trying to do is find the one-on-one matchups. So the pre-snap motion, it tells you whether or not they're in man, whether or not they're in zone right before the play snaps. If they're in man, you know you're going to Waddle, you know you're going to Tyreek Hill, whoever has the best matchup, and you're going to get them the ball right now. Before you even snap the ball, you know the ball is going to those two guys. If they go, when those guys go in motion, if those defensive players chase them, that means they're in man-to-man coverage on that side of the ball. Nobody can cover those two guys one-on-one, man-to-man, and run with them for 3-4 seconds. We all know that. So that's why the Dolphins lead the league in it. You know, the Patriots, on the other hand, they have always been, you know, take what they give. Take what they give you. Let's be smart. Let's play this thing smart. Let's not make it too hard on our quarterback. He's still young. He's still learning the offense. Let's not make it too hard on everybody. But let's just play very straight up, you know, clean football. When we need to know their man, we need to know their zone. We'll do things to decipher that. But they're going to go off what you do. They take their analytics serious in New England. I'm sure that Belichick and company has some plans and stuff to try to rival this Ravens defense. He always does.
Former Ravens tight end Daniel Wilcox with us here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Now the host of the Believe in Ravens podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. The Ravens are really good with the tight ends, and Mark Andrews is the favorite target of Lamar Jackson. What can the Patriots do defensively to limit that connection and force Lamar into making other decisions?
There's multiple things you could do on multiple levels, Brady. You definitely want to try to disrupt Lamar by getting people in his face and contesting every throw that he has to throw. You want to make him throw those sidearm, those awkward throws he has to throw, flipping the ball. You want to keep him under distress on that first level. That's with the D-line. And then you change those fronts quite a bit, so he has to take, you know, extreme releases to get off the ball. And you put somebody on him to bump him before he releases every time to slow him down so he don't get into his route right away. And then you put somebody over him to cover him. I think you put a spy on him, you ask me, and let somebody run with him, one of your best defenders run with him all game long, just to make sure that every catch that he makes is also a contested catch. And then you play different versions of zones and different versions of man to try to, you know, conflict his route running ability. You know, Mark Andrews is really sharp. He understands the geometry of the game, the angles, to how to push you, how to make you sit still, and how to move you when he needs to move you. And he's very sharp. He's very smart. So you got to kind of disguise things to make him think you're doing one thing and then do something else. And then that way, it throws off Lamar's timing as far as him being able to release the ball. Flashing people in front of Mark Andrews, you know, would definitely make him double pump that ball. If you have to pump it once or twice, then you put pressure on him and you get sacks.
You know, I think the Patriots and Ravens last played in 2020 when Cam Newton was the quarterback. It was a driving rainstorm. It was Sunday Night Football, and the Patriots ended up winning that game. And the book then, at that time, was make Lamar beat you as a passer. I think we're at the point where Lamar can beat you as a passer now, when he can go deep down the field, and he's got some young wideouts
with Hollywood Brown gone that he's enjoying a connection with. What is the best overall defensive philosophy against the Ravens right now?
I think the best overall is the put 9 in the box to make them not want to run the ball. You put 8-9 guys in the box, you're supposed to throw the ball all the time, just by the geometry or the dynamics or the mathematics of the game, right? You put 9 guys in the box, you're telling me that you're trying to stop the run. I need to throw the ball because now that me and my guys are man-on-man with your 3 guys back there. So if they put 8-9 in the box, that usually forces the Ravens to have to throw. If you force them to have to throw, then Lamar Jackson will have to beat you with his arm. You know, those 9 guys have to keep him in the pocket and not allow him to get out the pocket and scoot and run all down the field and get 100-plus yards rushing on you, because he could beat you with his legs all by himself and get 100 yards. You know, so you have to contain him. The Ravens don't have their key running backs right now. Both of those guys are beat up, banged up, and out still from last season. And I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage of them by stopping the run and forcing him to have to throw the ball. And, yes, he can throw the ball. I think every quarterback in this league got those intangibles where they can throw the ball all over the field and pick you apart if you force them to, you know. But you have to contest those receivers to put them in very stressful situations, so those throws have to be perfect. If he can't, nobody can make perfect throws every single time. Well, maybe the GOAT, Tom Brady, but nobody else could make perfect throws every single time to those receivers to put the ball where only the receivers can get it.
You know, you were playing in the league when the Patriots were in kind of the first iteration of their dynasty before Brady was the GOAT. Now, you were with Baltimore in the 2007 season when the Pats played them and the offense was going off. What was your perception of Brady and the Patriots when you were playing? What was the feeling about the Pats?
I hated Brady. I hated Brady with freaking passion. He was the GOAT then. He was the GOAT the first 10 years of his career, and he was the GOAT the second 10 years. If you just separate both 10 years, he's the GOAT in both 10. You know, so it's like at that point, you knew Brady was different. You knew he was special, and you knew when you was going in to play him, you was like, oh, God, we got to go play freaking Patriots with Brady. And you knew the game was never over, man. And when you got a guy that good, from a receiving tight end standpoint and a wide receiver, when you got a quarterback that if you get open, he going to find you, there's no greater feeling than that. You run every single route 100 miles per hour. You give him maximum effort because you know that ball could come to you any given moment. Even if you're the decoy receiver, if you don't run with the decoy, Brady will hit him. You know, so it's like he puts you in a different mindset, and you go into every single game knowing that you have an opportunity to win. You know these guys are going to play hard, and they're going to fight you to the end, man. And Brady has always been that quarterback. To me, from day one, he stepped on the field. He gave guys hope, and he made guys want to go out there and give their maximum effort.
Do you think the Patriots have any of that aura still, or did it all go away with Brady? Like, does Belichick have any of it, or are the Patriots just not viewed that way anymore?
They're not viewed that way anymore. I mean, Belichick definitely has something to do with the mystique. I mean, let's face it. But coaches coach, players play. At the end of the day, the guys on the field are the guys that you're more afraid of. You're not afraid of OCs, DCs, head coaches. You know, so as a player, you're going in there like, I can't wait to pick off Tom Brady. I can't wait to get a hit on Tom Brady. You know, I don't want no parts of Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, those are the guys you're afraid of. You're not afraid of coordinators. Coordinators are, most of the time, they never hit nobody. You know, so at the end of the day, man, like, New England was who they were because they had a phenomenal defense, and then they had a great quarterback.
You know, I thought about asking you about a bunch of your former teammates. I thought about Ray Lewis, thought about Ed Reed. I thought about asking all about those guys. The one guy I want to ask about was, what was it like to play with Deion? Deion was at the end of his career in Baltimore. You know, he wasn't Cowboys Deion. He wasn't 49ers or Falcons Deion. But what was Coach Prime like at the end of his career? What was it like to be around him?
He was still Deion, man. I'm telling you, I was that kid that grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, watching him play for the Falcons.
That's right.
And all my friends was like, man, I'm Deion. No, I'm Deion. You know, every time you go out to play football, everybody said, I'm Deion. Like, so he was that Randy Moss of my generation, I guess, where everybody say Moss, you know, everybody wanted to be Prime, man. Everybody high-stepping with their hand behind their head, you know, long leg strides. But when he got to Baltimore, man, like, his locker was literally 2 lockers down from me. And I just thought it was one of the most amazing things, man. You know, I've only been in all twice my entire NFL career. It was when I got to Baltimore. Well, actually 3 times, all 3 times. Tampa, Baltimore, and New York. Everywhere I went, it was like bruh, I can't believe I'm in the New York Jets locker room. Vinny Testaverde, Santana Moss got drafted with me, Mo Lewis, Sam Coward, all those guys, Marvin Jones, and then I leave there, I go to Tampa with Derrick Brooks and Simeon Rice and all those guys, and then Warren Sapp and Keyshawn, and then you go to Baltimore, and now you in there with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Suggs, and all those guys, and then they signed Deion. It's like, I walk in there, I introduce myself like, hey, Prime, how you doing, man? I'm Wilcox. I'm from the A. They call me Shawty. And he called me Shawty from that moment on, Brady. And he was just such a phenomenal teammate, man. Like, you can hear all this crazy stuff about Deion, about who he is, and who he ain't. But one thing he was, man, he was a phenomenal teammate. Whatever he needed, I would be his chauffeur if he needed a chauffeur. If he wanted somebody to carry his bag, I would carry his bag. I don't care. I was 4 or 5 years in the league when Prime came to Baltimore, but I mean, I always gave respect to the veteran guys that paved the way for all of us to be there. And I was a fan of Deion's. I've always been a fan of Deion's, and I can't say that about a lot of people at all because I never idolized people like that. And I didn't treat him any different than I would treat anyone else. One thing Steve Bisciotti used to always say was you treat the janitor just the same way you treat the owner. Mm-hmm. So I didn't treat Deion any different from how I would treat anyone else. And we became really, really, really freaking close for about 3 or 4 years, man. And he was like my best friend, when I was in Baltimore for the 2 years he was there.
Did you wear a do-rag growing up? I did. I admit it. I wore a Deion do-rag.
Absolutely. I wore not only did I wear a do-rag, Brady, I had one in every color. Even camouflage do-rags. Like I had them all, man. Red, pink, purple, blue, orange, you name them. I had them all because of Prime, man. And he made bandanas and do-rags and all that stuff really, really, kind of cool in our eyes, as an athlete.
I think Baltimore Deion also made the headband around your neck popular.
Yeah, he did.
So, Daniel Wilcox, former Ravens tight end, Believe in Ravens podcast, Patriots Ravens, Pat's home opener, both teams 1-1 coming up on Sunday. Daniel, man, we appreciate it. We'd love to do it again down the road.
Absolutely, Brady. Thanks for having me on, man. Great job, buddy.
I appreciate that. Daniel Wilcox, former Ravens tight end. Look, I disagree. He's great insight. Great insight. I love getting former players on, hearing the stories. He said he hated Brady and the Patriots when he was playing. I disagree with his philosophy on how to defend the Ravens. And I'll tell you what I'm looking for out of this matchup from the Patriots here in the next segment after CBS News. But Danny, you're too young to appreciate Deion Sanders. You're too young
totally.
You're too young to have appreciated Deion in his prime, because Deion in his prime was some kind of special. You're talking about glory days in the 90s. Deion, Griffey, and Jordan all playing at the same time, all at the top of their games. It was incredible theater to watch sports in the 90s, and there were superstars then. In a way that superstars are different now. Deion, all-time best line. Look good, feel good, play good, pay good. And that's what you need to know about that. Here's CBS News.
CBS News Brief. A big tropical storm could hit Florida next week. Meteorologist David Parkinson.
Florida needs to be paying attention. The storm will rapidly intensify, likely making landfall as a Category 2 or 3 on Wednesday.
4 Russian-occupied territories in Ukraine began voting today on whether to become part of Russia. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, on CBS Mornings.
This action on the part of Putin shows that they lack confidence. It shows that they are on their heels, and they are desperate.
In Oak Forest, Illinois, police have a person barricaded inside a fiery apartment complex. WBBM's Chris Hammerbell is in a chopper above the scene.
Reports of gunfire here earlier. There's a police tactical vehicle down there with firefighters, and they're trying to pour water into this house.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Special edition Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, going up until 11 o'clock. Don't worry, Vermont Viewpoint back on Monday. Put the pitchforks away, people. Vermont Viewpoint will be back on Monday. This is just a special one-off. Brady Farkas show is usually weeknights at 5:30. We're still going to be on tonight at 5:30, and you can always subscribe to our podcast, which has all of our full shows and all of our interviews exclusively on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at WDEVradio.com. Yeah, Danny, I was mentioning before we went to break there, that Deion Sanders line is absolutely iconic. Have you ever heard that before? No. So Deion was, picture Cam Newton, right? Like Cam Newton dressed flamboyantly and was not so much loud. Deion was loud, right? Deion was loud, but Cam had a fashion sense. So Deion had the fashion sense. Deion was also loud. And someone asked Deion basically, like, why do you dress like this? Why do you care how you dress? And blah, 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 blah. And he always wore big gold chains and all that. And Deion said, it's easy. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good, and if you pay good, they pay. Or if you play good, they pay good. And so that's what that was an all-timer by Deion. And really, Deion was one of the most special athletes of our time. I don't know if you know this either. I forget the year. It might have been like 92 or something like that. Deion played in 2 professional games.
Yes.
At the same day.
I saw that 30 for 30.
Yes.
That's how old I am.
Deion Sanders played. So he played pro baseball and pro football at the same time in the same seasons. He played in 2 games in the same day. So he played for the Atlanta Falcons by day down in Miami, then flew to Pittsburgh to play in a playoff game for the Atlanta Braves. Now, Bobby Cox benched him and didn't play him in that game, but he got there. Like he was on 2 rosters in the same day. Deion was incredible. And the further removed I get from having watched Deion, the more the legend grows in my mind. Now he's the football coach at Jackson State University, and he's Coach Prime over there. But Deion was an incredible player. Okay, 802-585-3026 on the Napa-Morrisville, Napa-Waterbury text line. Again, you can get in there, 802-585-3026. You can also call in at 244-1777. I'm told that if I'm in the Vermont Viewpoint time slot, it is ritual that I have to take a call from Fred at Newberry. Fred, I want to get to the Patriots here momentarily. You've got something a little off topic, so we'll get to it quickly here before I get into the Pats. Well, thanks for being with us. What do we got?
Oh, my turn.
Yes.
All right, here it is. Of all the ball sports, the professional ball sports, you know how many they are?
I don't have my calculator in front of me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay. So anyways, baseball is the most complicated one of all, and it takes more skill to play baseball than any other sport. I don't care what anybody says. And then a baseball player will tell you that. And then a basketball player, if he's any good, he'll tell you that baseball is the most difficult sport to play and the most complicated sport to play. But anyways, everybody's got a sports fantasy. And my sports fantasy is this. I love it. It's a World Series game. My team is up at bat, and the score is 3-1, and we're losing by 1 point. And the opposing team's at bat, and bases are loaded, and there's no outs. And I throw the first pitch, and the first pitch is a foul ball, and the second baseman catches it.
All right. How can it be a foul ball and the second baseman catches it?
That's right. I screwed up.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, Fred. So we appreciate it. Fred's talking to us about sports fantasies, and I don't know if he's talking about like dreams or things he wants to see in sports or things he wants to do in sports. I just tell you this. I've been to a World Series game. It was incredible. My team wasn't playing, but I went to 2005 White Sox-Astros game 1 of the World Series in Chicago. My dad's a White Sox fan. I coupled it with my 16th birthday. Went to that game. Roger Clemens pitched for Houston. The White Sox actually won that game, then went on to win the series also, I think 4-1. But so I've been to a World Series game. I've been to an NCAA tournament game. So I've done a lot of cool things when it comes to sports. I've covered 4 Super Bowls. I've never been to these Super Bowl games. So that if I had a sports fantasy, that is the thing that I want to do is go to the Super Bowl. That would be my sports fantasy. I had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. That's a story for another day. I didn't actually get there. I've covered 4 of them, never actually been to the game. So that's the next thing on my bucket list. All right, Danny, as we transition into the Patriots and Ravens, I got to tell you, I'm starting to get oddly confident about the Patriots in this game. Sunday at 1, Patriots home opener. I'm starting to get oddly confident. And if you had asked me 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago, or 3 months ago, I'd have told you the Patriots are going to get blown out by Baltimore. Last night, I had this epiphany that I think the Patriots can win this game. Now, I'll put the disclaimer on it. Kyle Duggar and Jacoby Myers are banged up. Neither one of them's practiced in the last 2 days. If Myers and Duggar don't play, I don't think the Patriots can win. I think they're too critical to what the Patriots do. So that's the disclaimer. But if those guys play, I just have this tingly sensation that the Patriots can win this game. Baltimore is better on paper. Baltimore is more explosive. The Ravens should win this game. But I feel like on Sunday, we could see a Bill Belichick coaching special. I think we could see a Bill Belichick coaching special. And if we see that, I think the Patriots not only have a chance, I think they have a very realistic shot. 3 days ago, I never would have said this. But last night, I had the epiphany. Now, Danny, the Ravens are an incredible running team. That is what their offense is built on. Lamar Jackson's a runner. He had 119 yards rushing from the quarterback position last week against Miami. Lamar Jackson's a great runner. They've got all kinds of running backs. They can go 3 tight ends. Like they will bully you running the football. And Daniel even said, if you want to stop Baltimore, try to stop the run. That's what you should do. I tell you what, I completely disagree. I want the Patriots to bring back the Bill Belichick special from the 90s. Now, Danny, you're too young to have remembered this also. But back in the 90s, Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. They played the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, the one where Scott Norwood missed the kick wide right, and everybody talks about it. And the Giants won the Super Bowl, 91 or so. So the Bills had a high-powered offense, right? Jim Kelly was the quarterback. Thurman Thomas was the running back. Bill Belichick said, I'm going to let you run the football. I'm going to let you run it. I'm going to drop everybody in coverage. I'm going to let you run. And my goal is that you are going to run the ball. You're going to run it effectively. But you're going to take a lot of time off the clock. You're going to limit your number of possessions. And eventually, maybe we can force a turnover or we can limit you to a field goal. That's what I want the Patriots to do on Sunday.
Do you think that's what the Dolphins did last week? Letting Lamar run for 84-yard touchdown.
I mean, Lamar Jackson was hitting Bateman on 75-yard passes, yes. So no. The Ravens have a quick strike offense in the passing game. 3 years ago, it used to be, hey, make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm. Lamar Jackson can now beat you with his arm. If the Patriots just play this straight up, or if they do what Daniel Wilcox said and try to stop the run and make Lamar Jackson pass, he's going to shred them. Yeah. If they leave one-on-one coverage all over the field, Lamar Jackson is going to shred them. And the Patriots are not built to win a track meet. If the Ravens get up, and score 21 points in the first quarter, the Patriots are cooked. They cannot come back from that. Their offense is not built that way. So I am saying go the opposite way. Drop everybody into coverage. Make it hard for Lamar Jackson to pass. Let them run the football. Let them run the football. Let them be effective at it. But make them meticulously go down the field. 14 plays, 85 yards. 12 plays, 72 yards. Make them go all the way down the field meticulously. Make them do it in 7 minutes, in 9 minutes. Make them take huge chunks of time off the clock. Limit their possessions. And if you're going to give up yards. You're going to give up yards. But eventually, you have to hope Ravens are going to false start. They're going to get a holding call, and they're going to get pushed into a situation where they have to kick a field goal, where you're going to tighten up in the red zone, and they have to kick a field goal, and you've limited them to 3 points instead of a quick strike 7. Or You're going to get down there inside the 10-yard line, Baltimore's, and you're going to punch the ball out on the goal line, and it's going to be a fumble, and you've recovered it. And now they've taken up 9 minutes of time, and they've gotten no points out of it. That, to me, is the strategy I would employ if I were the Patriots. And I think that on Sunday, we can see a Bill Belichick coaching special. And that, I think, would be the epitome of it if he brought back that 90s game plan. And we're going to have Phil Perry from NBC Sports Boston on at 10:05. And I'm going to ask him this question, if he thinks I'm a genius or if he thinks I'm a moron. But that is what I want to see the Patriots do. The Patriots do not win this game 38-35. That's just not going to happen. Miami beat them last week 38-35. Miami has explosive athletes on offense. Patriots don't have that.
No.
So the Pats cannot win a track meet. The Pats can win a 12-9 game. The Pats can win a 19-16 game. The Pats can win a game 17-14. And the way to limit the possessions and limit the scoring is to do exactly what I'm telling you.
You are advocating for boring football.
That's the only way the Patriots can beat Baltimore. That is the only way. They do not have a chance to just line up, play it straight. You go down the field, we go down the field. They will not keep up. They have to out-coach Baltimore. They have to out-strategize them, and I think that they actually can. Again, it's all on the qualifier that Duggar and Myers play. Duggar is hugely important.